In this world of just constant noise and distraction, it feels like we're always looking for a clear path, right? A way to handle all the challenges life throws at us. And what's interesting is that sometimes the best guidance isn't something newfangled, it's timeless. So today, we're going to dive into the incredible wisdom of Imam Ali, a voice of absolute clarity that has cut through the noise for over 1,000 years. Let's walk this path together. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the unseen challenges that can throw us off course. Then, we'll talk about how to unlock some really profound wisdom. After that, we'll get into lessons for ourselves and for how we deal with others. And we'll wrap it all up by discovering that the real power to change, well, it's already inside of us. Okay, first things first, we gotta understand what we're really up against, because there are forces out there and even inside of us that are always trying to pull us in the wrong direction. So, what are these hidden forces exactly? It's a really important question, right? Because you can't fight an enemy you can't see. And this is where Imam Ali's wisdom is so powerful. It helps us pinpoint the real source of what leads us astray. So in Islamic tradition, there's a really important distinction to make. On one hand, you have the jinn. Think of them as another creation of God, kind of like humans. They can be good, they can be evil, or just neutral. But then you have shaitan, and that's different. Shaitan isn't just a creature. It's the very idea, the very force of temptation and misguidance. It's that whisper of doubt that tries to pull you away from the right path. That's the force we need to learn how to deal with. Okay, so if we're up against these invisible challenges, how in the world do we fight back? Where do we get the tools? Well, the answer is pretty clear. We have to seek out real, true knowledge from the most trusted sources. And this statement right here, wow, this is from the Prophet Muhammad himself. He's essentially saying that he is this vast city of knowledge, and Imam Ali is the gate to that city. I mean, think about that. To really get to the heart of that wisdom, you have to go through the gate. We're not just talking about facts and figures here. This is about a kind of insight that can completely change you. All right, so let's push open that gate. Let's see how this wisdom works, starting from the inside out, with the principles that make our own souls stronger. I mean, just think about that for a second. Knowledge enlivens the soul. That is such a beautiful idea. Imam Ali is telling us that knowledge isn't just about passing a test or getting a better job. No. It's the very thing that wakes up your spirit, that brings your inner self to life. It's literally food for the soul. And this idea is rooted so deeply in the faith. The Prophet made it clear that seeking knowledge is a duty, it's obligatory. Why? Because a soul without knowledge is like a body without breath. It's that essential. It's what helps us grow, figure out our purpose, and just move through life with some real wisdom. Now, this next one, this is powerful. Do not be a slave to others when Allah has created you free. We hear the word freedom, and we usually think about politics or physical chains. But Imam Ali is pointing to something way, way deeper. And here's the core idea, which echoes the Quran itself. You can be a slave without ever wearing chains, right? You can be enslaved to your own desires, to your ego, to what other people think of you, or that constant chase for money and status. This wisdom is a call to action. It's telling us to break those invisible chains and find what true freedom is all about, being devoted only to God. So we've done some work on the inner self. Now let's pivot and see how all this wisdom applies to the outside world, how we deal with other people, in our communities, and even as leaders. Okay, this one might hit close to home for a lot of us. Silence is the best reply to a fool. I mean, think about the internet today, right? The endless arguments and comment sections. This advice has never been more relevant. And it's not about being weak or giving up, not at all. It's about having the wisdom to know which fights just aren't worth your energy. And this idea comes straight from the Quran. See, jumping into every pointless argument just drains you. It pulls you down to a lower level. But responding with peace, whether you say the word or you just choose a dignified silence, that's a sign of incredible strength. It shows composure. It shows you respect yourself too much to get dragged into the mud. Here's a timeless piece of advice on leadership. And when we say leader, that could be anyone: a CEO, a manager, a teacher, even a parent. Real leadership doesn't start with telling other people what to do. It starts with teaching yourself first. Yeah, this idea of being a shepherd responsible for your flock is key. Leadership is seen as a sacred trust, an amana. And think about it, how can you possibly guide your flock if you're lost in the woods yourself? It's impossible. So the journey of any true leader has to start with self-discipline, with correcting your own faults, with being self-aware. You have to be the example. Okay, we've gone through some really powerful lessons here. But now we come to the final step. And honestly, it's the most important one. It's about taking all this wisdom we've talked about and actually making it real inside of you. This quote, this might be one of the most empowering things you will ever hear. Your sickness is from you, and your remedy is within you. We spend so much time looking for answers outside of ourselves, right? We blame our circumstances, we blame other people for our problems. But Imam Ali just cuts right through all that. He reminds us that the source of our issues, and more importantly, the cure, is already inside us. We just don't always see it. So let's put it all together. This is the path. You start by feeding your soul with real knowledge. That knowledge helps you break free from the slavery of your own ego and desires. Once you're free, you can deal with the world from a place of real strength. You'll have the wisdom to stay silent when faced with ignorance, and you'll know to work on yourself before you try to lead anyone else. And it all boils down to this: knowing that the power to change is in your hands. And in the end, your real worth, it's just measured by the good you do. So that's where we'll leave it. The remedy is within you. The wisdom is right here. The only real question left is, what are you going to do about it? Which one of these ideas will you be the one to apply first?